What if everything you have been told about skipping meals is wrong? Not partially wrong, completely wrong. Millions of people are terrified of missing breakfast because they were told it would destroy their metabolism. They snack every 3 hours because someone on a podcast said their blood sugar would crash otherwise. They avoid fasting because a fitness influencer said they would lose all their muscle. But what if that advice is actually making things worse? The science on intermittent fasting has exploded in the last 5 years, and most of what you heard on social media does not hold up. 7 myths, 7 lies you were told about fasting. Stay until the end, because myth number 7 is the one that surprises everyone. Myth 1. Skipping breakfast will ruin your metabolism. This is the most persistent myth in nutrition science, and it refuses to die. The idea goes back to the 1990s, when a handful of observational studies noticed that people who skipped breakfast tended to weigh more. But correlation is not causation. People who skip breakfast often compensate by eating more later in the day, or they have other lifestyle factors that explain the weight gain. A 2022 randomized controlled trial at the University of Bath tracked 48 participants over 6 weeks and found no measurable difference in metabolic rate between breakfast eaters and breakfast skippers, 0. The thermic effect of food, resting metabolic rate, total daily energy expenditure, all identical. Your metabolism does not have an on-off switch tied to a 7 a.m. alarm. It runs on total energy balance over days and weeks, not on whether you ate cereal this morning. In fact, the people who skipped breakfast in the Bath study reported no difference in hunger, energy, or mood compared to the breakfast group. The myth persists because the cereal industry spent decades funding research that supported regular morning meals. Follow the money, and the myth falls apart. The next time someone tells you that skipping breakfast is dangerous, ask them for the randomized controlled trial that proves it. They will not be able to find one. Myth 2. Fasting makes you lose muscle. This fear keeps a lot of people, especially men who lift weights, from even trying intermittent fasting. The worry is that without constant protein feedings every 3 hours, your body will start catabolizing its own muscle tissue for fuel. But your body is not that desperate. A 2023 study in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition tracked resistance-trained athletes doing a 16-8 time-restricted eating protocol for 8 weeks. The result? Lean mass was preserved identically between the fasting group and the normal meal frequency group, as long as total daily protein intake hit around 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight. Your body taps into stored glycogen first, then shifts to fat oxidation. Muscle is the last resort, not the first. The anabolic window after training is also far wider than the supplement industry wants you to believe. You do not need a protein shake within 30 minutes of your last set. A 2024 meta-analysis confirmed that total daily protein matters far more than meal timing for muscle preservation. Spread your protein across your eating window and you are fine. Myth 3. You have to eat 6 small meals to keep your metabolism firing. This was gospel in the bodybuilding and fitness industry for decades. Eat every 3 hours to keep your metabolic furnace burning. Skip a meal and your metabolism crashes. But a comprehensive meta-analysis published in the British Medical Journal reviewed 11 randomized controlled trials comparing different meal frequencies with identical caloric intake. The finding? No meaningful difference in total daily energy expenditure, fat loss, or body composition between eating 2 meals a day and eating 6. What actually matters is total caloric balance across the entire day. Your body does not care if you ate that chicken breast at noon or at 6 p.m. The calories are processed the same way. Meal frequency is essentially irrelevant to fat loss when calories are controlled. The 6-meal myth was popularized by bodybuilding magazines in the 1980s, and it stuck because it sounded scientific. It was never backed by rigorous research. The real driver of metabolism is lean muscle mass and total energy expenditure, not how many times you chew per day. Build muscle, move more, and eat enough protein. That is what actually keeps your metabolism running. Myth 4. The eating window has to be exactly 16 hours. The 16-8 protocol, where you fast for 16 hours and eat during an 8-hour window, is the most popular version of intermittent fasting. But it is not the only one, and it is not magic. Research from the Salk Institute for Biological Studies, led by Dr. Sachin Panda, showed significant metabolic benefits across a range of eating windows, from 10 hours to 12 hours. The key principle is giving your body a prolonged break from insulin stimulation, not hitting some precise numerical target. A 12-hour overnight fast, which basically means not snacking after dinner and eating breakfast the next morning, already triggers meaningful improvements in insulin sensitivity. A 2024 study in Cell Metabolism found that even a 10-hour eating window reduced fasting glucose and improved lipid profiles over 12 weeks. Start where you are comfortable. You can tighten the window gradually. The best protocol is the one you can actually stick to. Myth 5. Black coffee breaks your fast. This fear stops a lot of people from even attempting intermittent fasting. They picture their morning coffee spiking insulin and ruining everything. But black coffee contains approximately 2 calories per cup, which is functionally zero. A 2021 study in the European Journal of Nutrition measured insulin and glucose responses after black coffee consumption during a fasted state and found no meaningful glycemic or insulinic response. In fact, the researchers noted that caffeine may actually enhance autophagy, the cellular cleanup process that fasting is supposed to activate. Coffee also suppresses appetite naturally, which makes fasting easier. The only things that break a true physiological fast are significant calories, roughly above 50, and anything that triggers a meaningful insulin response. Black coffee, plain tea, and water are all fine. Even a splash of milk, around 5 milliliters, is unlikely to meaningfully affect your fasted state. Myth 6. Intermittent fasting is just a trend with no real science. This is the myth that annoys clinical researchers the most. As of early 2025, there are over 300 peer-reviewed studies on intermittent fasting and time-restricted eating in PubMed alone. The Calorie Trial, a landmark study funded by the National Institutes of Health, followed participants on a calorie-restricted diet and found that time-restricted eating windows improved cardiovascular markers, reduced systemic inflammation, lowered fasting insulin, and even slowed biological aging as measured by epigenetic clocks. A 2023 review in the New England Journal of Medicine summarized the evidence and concluded that intermittent fasting produces clinically meaningful improvements in weight, blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar control. This is not a fad diet. It is one of the most rigorously studied nutritional interventions of the past decade. Major research institutions, including Harvard, Stanford, and the National Institute on Aging, have active intermittent fasting research programs. Myth 7. Fasting works the same for men and women. This is the one almost nobody talks about, and it matters enormously. Women's reproductive hormones operate on a monthly cycle that is fundamentally different from men's hormonal architecture. Research from the University of Sydney found that extended fasting windows of 16 hours or more can disrupt luteinizing hormone pulsatility in premenopausal women, potentially affecting ovulation, menstrual regularity, and fertility. A 2024 clinical trial published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism showed that women practicing 20-hour fasting windows experienced more menstrual irregularities compared to a 12-hour control window. The takeaway is not that women should avoid fasting entirely. It is that women may benefit from shorter fasting windows, typically 12 to 14 hours, rather than the aggressive 16-plus hour protocols that are marketed universally. Hormonal biology is sex-specific. The protocol should be too. Women in perimenopause or menopause may tolerate longer windows, but the research is still emerging on this point. And that brings us to the end of this one. 7 myths, 7 lies that kept people confused about one of the simplest health tools available. Intermittent fasting is not about starving yourself. It is not about suffering through hunger. It is about giving your body a regular break from constant digestion. Start small tonight. Push your last meal just 1 hour earlier than usual. Skip the late-night snack. Eat breakfast 1 hour later tomorrow. You do not need a perfect protocol. You need a consistent one. The hardest part is not the hunger. It is unlearning everything you were told. If this changed how you think about fasting, drop a comment with which myth surprised you the most. Like this video and share it with someone who still believes skipping breakfast is dangerous. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next breakdown. See you in the next one.